Hey, my name's Izzy. This is Rolling Virtual Cards coming at you with another Commander's Ratings. This time, we're doing Yuriko the Tiger Shadow. Let's jump into this. Yuriko the Tiger Shadow is 1, a blue and a black for a 1/3 legendary creature, human ninja. Here's my cat. With Commander Ninjutsu. So this is a blue and a black, and you can return an unblocked attacker you control to your hand and put this card onto the battlefield from your hand or the command zone tapped as attacking. And whenever a ninja you control does combat damage to a player, reveal the top card of your library and put that card into your hand. Each opponent loses life equal to that card's mana value. Now, before we get into the rating, a few things to talk about Yuriko for people to understand. Number 1, Commander Ninjutsu is an activated ability, so it does not have commander cost. Number 2, Yuriko is on the new, what's it called? Not ban list, but the order list or something, whatever they called it, where like the watch list, I guess. And it's one of 2 commanders that are on that list, I think. And so yeah, Yuriko is seen by many people to be very strong, just like a really strong commander. It is the first one out of the bunch that we're talking about that is CEDH viable. And we'll get into it, and we'll see here if that makes it a better rating, or if that gives it a better rating, I guess. So let's hop into the rating categories. Again, we'll hop into this just for people who haven't seen my videos before. Commander cost is how much it costs to cast. Color identity is how many colors are in it. Protection is, does it have protection? Is it hard to remove? Interaction is, does it interact with your opponents in some way? Mana advantage is just, does it give you mana? Card advantage is, does it give you cards? Combo is if there's combos with it. Engine is if it has 1 or 2 cards that just kind of get it going. And will it TTRPG? The best part, the part that everyone waits for. Other than the rating, of course. So, that's where we see if you could use it in a tabletop role-playing game. So let's get into it. Commander cost. Yuriko is, in all intents and purposes, a 1, a blue, and a black, which is 3 mana. So that gives it 4 points. It does not lose any points, as it only costs 2 colors to cast, so it's not that hard. Getting 2 colors is very easy in Commander. On top of that, it has its Commander Ninjutsu for 1 and a blue, or for a blue and a black. So that makes it 2, to be fair. So depending on where you land, since you are never casting it for its commander cost, if you are, you're doing something wrong. This card costs 2. Meaning, it gets a 5 for casting cost, guys. Which is insane, okay? Right off the bat, it gets a 5 points for casting. This is crazy. To just see that right off the bat, it means it's if it has 5 points per casting cost, either normally the rest should be bad, because why would you give something that much power, right? 2 mana, and yet you can do a lot of stuff. Sure, you need an unblockable creature. That's not hard to get, guys. You're in blue and black. The amount of unblockable creatures you have, or flying creatures you have that will be unblocked, is insane. Okay, but let's get into color identity. This, again, always simple. It's blue-black. It's 2 colors. It gets 2 points. This is probably one of its lower points here. That isn't 0. It has good stuff. Now, again, I don't tend to hark on what colors you decide to play, but in Commander, there is an obvious hierarchy of playability with colors. Okay, which differ depending on if you're playing CEDH or casual. In CEDH, the colors go like this: blue, black, white, red, green. That's the color pie. Yeah, literally, it's blue, black, white, red, green. Blue gives you interaction and win cons. Black gives you tutors. White gives you interaction and card advantage. Red gives you a few unique win cons. And card advantage engines, well, big explosive card advantage, not really engines. And green gives you like creature tutors in Commander or in competitive. But that gets flipped so hard when you go to casual. Casually, because the game lasts so much longer, green is such a high card color. It's probably the best color casually because they have so much card advantage, but it takes a second to get there. You have to get the thing out and then it can start steamrolling and you have a better engine in that regard, okay? Following that up, you usually end up going something like blue, black, red, white. Blue just is, which is like close to being where the other stuff is. Just like white's effects casually are like stalling, and people don't like stalling in stacks. And red is like burn, and burn doesn't really win you games. But blue and black do the same thing. Like black is just like ruthless push and has some good draw effects, and blue just has some good draw effects. So it's kind of card advantage, and cheap card advantage just isn't in green, but it has really good card advantage. So, but that being said, it's two, and it's the two best colors when you're going for a fast win. Protection. Does Yuriko have protection? Technically, if you read this top one, cheating commander tax. Oh, 5 points. Yeah, it gets 5 points. Now, this is contentious. You might state that cheating commander tax isn't worth it. It's not good. Why would you put this up at the top? And the reason why is because it doesn't matter if it gets removed. It still just costs 2 mana to cast. So, whereas like all this other stuff, like, oh yeah, you have to have like protection and it could still die to a board wipe, or hey, it can't die to a board wipe, but it can die to exile removal, and like, oh yeah, you got to pay mana to do something with it and return to your hand. Yeah, you can put it back in your hand, and now you're gonna have to recast it, but there's a cost to returning it to your hand, right? Cheating commander tax, it doesn't matter if it gets removed, you're just gonna replay it for the same amount. Removing Yuriko is just not what you want to do. You just leave it alone because it'll just come back. It's the same thing with like something like Duretti. You don't remove it, you just leave it alone. So, cheating commander tax is 5 points, so it does get the 5 points for protection. Next is interaction. This is the one of the zero fields. It doesn't interact with your opponent in any way. You're not doing field control with it. There's no field removal. You don't control their hand. You don't control their graveyard, and you're not milling them. So there is no points here for interaction. Mana advantage. No, it doesn't produce mana. It doesn't give you lands or treasures. Doesn't cheat any mana. It cheats itself by 1 mana, but that's besides the point, honestly. It doesn't tap for mana, and there is no other form of mana it's producing. Card advantage. Does it have card advantage? Yes, this is 5. Draws whenever and it states whenever a ninja you control does combat damage to the player, reveal the top card of your library and put that card in your hand. Each opponent loses life equal to their mana value. This is per ninja, so if you hit them with 5 ninjas, you're revealing the top 5 cards, dealing that damage to each opponent, and adding them to your hand. It's even better, technically, than draw advantage. That is my cat. If you hear jumping around, my cat is wandering around the table. So yeah, like, it's better than draw because it doesn't trigger your opponent's draw cards. Like, whenever your opponent draws a card, it doesn't trigger that for you, against you, so that's always great. And so yeah, card advantage is peak, such a great idea to have card advantage on a 2-drop creature that can't be countered because it's an activated ability. Yay, that wasn't a dumb idea. Combo. Does it have combos? Yes, it does. We'll talk about them here, and they're not the reason you run this commander. So this is technically a 2-card combo, so it only gets 4 points here. So Satoru Umezawa has this neat ability where it gives all other creatures in your hand ninjutsu. So whenever you activate a ninjutsu ability, you look at the top 3 cards of your library, put one of them in your hand with the rest of the bottom of your library. In any order, this ability triggers only once each turn. That's like the point right here. Each creature you control has ninjutsu for 2 a blue, and a black. Great Wheel. Whenever Great Wheel comes into play, untap up to 7 lands. Palicron. Whenever Palicron enters the battlefield, untaps up to 7 lands. Okay? So how does this work? Well, Yuriko has ninjutsu for 1 and a black. Okay? So the way this works is because 1 and a black and 2 a blue and a black is only 6 mana, right? It's 2 generic, 2 blue, and 2 black. And these untap 7 lands. As long as you have 7 lands, you can swing in with an unblockable, ninjutsu out Yuriko, and then ninjutsu out the Great Whale, and then ninjutsu out Yuriko, and then ninjutsu out the Great Wheel, and do this over and over and over. And this technically gives you, here's my Katakin, infinite mana, because that's only 6 mana, and you're untapping 7 lands. So that is, in a technical effect, infinite ETBs, infinite storm, and infinite mana. What do you do with this infinite mana? I don't know, ninjutsu out something that could be useful. That's the 3rd card all of a sudden. It is technically an infinite combo. And it's not necessarily the reason you run Yuriko, okay? But she does have a 2-card combo with either these 2 or these 2. So I will state, if you wanted to find a way to make that work casually, that's cool. Don't bother competitively with this. That's not the point of Yuriko. Yuriko is just there for good combo, for good card advantage. But there is a weird, funny combo, and I thought I'd bring it to attention so that people don't go, technically, Yuriko does have a combo, and it's pretty good because it's instant speed, and technically, you're able to use Satoru and Great Whale or Polychron and go infinite ETBs. So as long as you have a way to do something off those ETBs or something at instant speed with all the infinite mana you're getting, you can technically end by ninjutsuing out a creature that has an activated ability, and then you could funnel all the mana into that. Yeah, right. But now you're adding a 3rd card, right? Here's the stuff. You need a 3rd card to win the game, and that makes it 1 point, right? So does it get 1 point or does it get 4 points, right? It's technically infinite mana, but it doesn't win you the game. So you need a 4th card, so it's only 1 point, okay? Because as much as this is kind of cool, it's only giving you infinite mana at instant speed. And you can't say that that's really worth the points, right? That being said, it's just kind of fun whenever you see a Polychron or Great Wheel combo. I always find those fun. I think they're interesting. But now let's get into engine. This is the casual side. This is what you're doing it for. Engine's a 5. It has multitude of 1-drop cards. So any ninja technically engines it. As long as it's on the field, and any ninja can just trigger it going off. So something like Ingenious Infiltrator, when a ninja you control deals damage to a player, draw cards. So this is great because it's going to just draw you cards. But this will trigger Yuriko's effect, causing a snowball effect of just keep getting going more once a turn. So that's a great engine piece. Scroll Rack is an engine piece in the form of allowing you to put your more expensive cards on top of your deck. Because you exile a number of cards from your hand face down, put the mini cards from the top of your library into your hand, then look at the exile cards and put them on top of your library in an order. So you can put like your big 10 drop or 12 drop or 15 drop on top of your deck. And then you can reveal that off your ninja hit. And you can do that at instant speed. So if you know you're going to hit, now you can just be all like, yeah, Scroll Rack, boom, take that. There's a big damage. So that's great. Scroll Rack is fantastic in that way. And Tetsuko Umezawa Fugitive is great. So it's not a ninja, but creatures you control with power or toughness 1 or less can't be blocked. That triggers the ninjutsu very well, allowing, like, this includes Tetsuko can't be blocked, but on top of that, like, this makes Yuriko, once it's out on the field, unblockable, allowing it to just get in and kind of, like, help push that notion of, like, yeah, I can keep getting the engine going off of just Yuriko at that point then, right? So lots of different single card engines really pushing this card into that 5 points area. So before we get to TTRPG, I have a new segment that I'm going to be calling Total Points. So I'll blow this up just for fun. I'll probably make a page for that on the sheet. So we're talking about the total points here. So total, you're looking at 23. Okay. So what does that mean? That means commander cost being 5 is great. Protection being 5 is great. And card advantage being 5 is great. That's 3 5s. Okay. How does that compare to the other commanders? You know, that's a great question. Let me find that out. I'll be right back. Okay, I just did all the calculations here. So these are the rankings so far. The Dragon sits at number 1 with 30 points. Okay, the 2030 is because of its imminence. And here's the thing: you might say, well, okay, so then shouldn't it be below Yuriko? Shouldn't we take the lower rating? You're taking the higher because it's how people play. Okay, people barely cast the Dragon. They use it as just a way to just reduce the cost of your cards, and then if you happen to get the mana later on late game, you can drop it for card advantage. Okay, but it does so much right, and yes, it gets a lot of points just out of the fact that it has color identity very well, and just out of the fact that it has mana advantage at 5, so that gets 5 points, or not mana, card advantage at 5 for both of those. But it has a combo, 2-card combo, so it gives it 4 points, and its engine, like every other one of these, is at 5. Okay, but here's the thing: that 30 comes from the fact that commander cost doesn't matter with it, so it gets 5 points. Protection doesn't matter with it, so it gets 5 points. Or there's 0. It's one of the two, and that's what gets a hit. But again, imminence just screams, doesn't matter. That's the point here, okay? Yuriko slots in here, nicely at number 2, where it belongs, okay? It has an insane casting cost of only 2. It has a 5 in protection because it could just be reused. Sure, it loses some points in coloring because of 2, because it's only 2 color, but it makes up for that in card advantage. And just like the other ones, it has engine at 5. And its combo is only like 1, okay? It doesn't really do anything. It needs a 3rd card, which makes it only 1. But that still magically gets it to 23, which is so cool to see a non-imminence hit the 20s, okay? Edgar Markov is a 10, unless you take imminence into account, in which case it's 20. Again, it gets those 10 extra points. 10 from not having to ever cast it, or 5 from never casting it, and 5 from not worrying about having to protect it. Sauron, the Dark Lord, gets a 16, which is really nice. That 16 heavily comes from a lot of its card advantage. Just its card advantage, and its color isn't bad, being 3 color. And it does give you it doesn't have combos, but it has the engine. So like you're getting to that like 10 point, or the 10 point, the 15 points with that stuff, with the engine, the card advantage, and then like just little increments. Like its protection isn't awful, and it has, it doesn't have combo, but like its protection is not bad, and its casting is terrible, honestly, but its color identity and its protection kind of gives it that little boost. Krenko hits that 14, loses 2 points. So it has the engine, it has the combo, both sitting nicely at 5 and 4, right? It has that 1 for card advantage because it makes tokens. But other than that, its color identity sucks, but its mana cost isn't awful, only being 4, giving it them nice 2 points. Or 3 points. And then Atraxa, the most popular commander, still sits there and behooves us. It's only 14. Its commander cost is 1, because although it's 4, it costs 4 different colors. Its color identity gets you 4, which is good. That's very high. But it has no protection, no interaction, no mana advantage, no card advantage. But it does have combo, 2-card combo with it, so that's 4. And it has an engine. But it's so low. But this shows you that there's gotta be worse cards out there, and we'll get to them as we continue going through these lists. But Yuriko gets to be in our nice second place, guys. So we'll continue upgrading the rankings as we go along. But we've waited for it, guys. You've made it to the end of the video. Will it TTRPG? The story, the fight, the class. Let's talk about Yuriko as an enemy in this game. So Yuriko is this super cool human, right? Yuriko, the tiger shadow. Yuriko's like coming in out of nowhere, hitting you, and then like another ninja comes out, popping in its way. They hit you, and then another ninja comes out of nowhere. And every time it does that, it's going to be revealing something and dealing damage to you. So that reveal, like, okay, let's start story. Story-wise, this is going to be like a heavy stealth campaign where you are... there's a lot of ways to do ninjas, but like there's a kind of like you could probably do a Foot Clan style type thing. Like there's a group of ninjas and they all follow Yuriko, the Tiger Shadow, right? And Yuriko isn't someone who fights from behind. She leads by example. She's out there using ninjutsu, popping out of nowhere, taking people out. She's fighting, okay? But she's also this provider, right? All the other ninjas that follow her, always ends up coming with something, right? They don't just attack people, they rob them, they bring stuff back, right? They're a subsegment of the larger ninja group that's like kind of broke off because like they're stealing, and the other ninjas like, no, we're just meant to assassin. Why are you stealing stuff? That's not right. And we're like, that's dumb. We're gonna steal the stuff. We killed them. We might as well get extra payment. So people follow her because they get something out of it, right? And that's where you're gonna get that card advantage from there, right? But we can also, because it's supposed to deal, each opponent loses life equal to this mana value. That life loss could really just be like lack of clues. They can't find anything because everything's stolen. There's why they do stuff. What's missing? Well, everyone's dead and everything's gone. So there's no information, right? They commit crimes and they hide the crimes. So that's where we're getting with this story. It's like this really interesting, like, okay, we got to solve where this ninja clan is, figure out who's committing the crimes, and put a stop to it. The fight is cool, because this fight against Yuriko is like her and her group of ninjas, and they're coming in, and if you don't block their attack, which is an actual action you can take, if you're not blocking, they can switch out who's hitting you on their attack at like instantly. Just be like, yo, you thought this ninja was gonna hit you? Actually, it's Yuriko hitting you for more, right? Now, they don't do a lot of damage, but that's swapping back and forth. Like, Yuriko goes to hit you, and boom, it's another ninja, like a bigger ninja that hits you for more damage, and that's going to be, like, this hard-fought type of, like, okay, we got to be able to get to them before they get to us, but they're fast and light on their feet. Making the fight just a huge mess of just, like, okay, where is who and who is where, right? And then the class is simple. Yuriko is just going to be a human rogue in that case. If you're playing with ninjas, whatever stealth class is available is what you're going to be doing. You're going to be building it as a stealth character who can really, like, you don't see them. They're coming out of nowhere. They hit, they run. They go to hit you, and all of a sudden they're not hitting you. Another ninja's hitting you, which is just a really cool idea. So I think that story and ultimate fight would be really cool. Overall. So will it TTRPG? I highly think it can TTRPG. So, but that's all I have for you today. That's Yuriko. Feel free to like and subscribe and let me know if you like Yuriko and or if you hate her. I know a lot of people who hate her, so give me some stories down below about Yuriko and your experiences playing against her or playing her as your own commander. As always, I'm easy for rolling words or cards. Peace.